Hello and welcome back to our series Getting Started. My name is Gordon Dodderman from FTC Team E372, and today we will be going over how to set up a Rev Robotics electronic system.
So this is the Rev Robotics expansion hub. It has 4 motor ports along with respective encoder ports, 6 regular servo ports on the bottom along with 2 5+ volt servo ports, and a multitude of sensor ports. This allows this one piece of hardware to run your entire robot very easily, just like any other modern robotics system. On the top left-hand side, you can see that we have a battery in port and a battery out port. The battery in port allows you to plug in a battery so it has power, and the battery out port allows you to daisy chain the power to another hub so that you can have more ports for your entire robot. And on the back, we have a mini USB port to plug your phone directly into. So as a quick side note, a way to daisy chain these Rev Robotics expansion hubs together to get more ports on one phone is to take an extension cord, plug it into the battery out port, and a 3-pin JST PH wire, and plug it into the bottom UART port, and then just plug it into another Rev Robotics hub without the mini USB, without anything in the mini USB. And when you configure your robot, another will show up in the portal. On the left-hand side, we have 4 JST VH ports, which we will be able to plug our motors into, and 4 JST PH ports, which we will be able to plug our respective motor encoders into. These ports will work perfectly for any Rev Robotics mechanics you have. However, for anyone who still uses Andy Mark Never S motors, the process will be a little more complicated. In the box, Rev gives you a Anderson power pole to JST VH converter so that you can just plug it in very easily. However, for the encoder, it's a little more complicated. You'll have to get the level shifters, which you can plug your motor encoder into, and will convert it into a JST PH port, which then you can plug into your Rev Robotics module. On the bottom here, you'll see that we have 6 servo ports and 2 5+ volt ports. These regular servo ports will work for pretty much any servo you have. However, if you have a very high power port servo, you'll have to plug it into one of these 2 ports. On the far left-hand side, you will see that it has a key for how you should plug in your servos, white sometimes being replaced by yellow depending on the servo you are using. And these ports are not proprietary in any way, so you should just be able to plug them in like any other. On the right side, you can see that we have a multitude of sensor ports. Each of these ports is type JST PH. Some are 4-pin, such as the analog, digital, and I2C ports. However, some are 3-pin, such as the UART ports at the top. Most sensors that Rev ships will work perfectly, like the Rev Robotics touch sensor, which will work natively without any converters. However, if any teams are using modern robotic sensors, such as a touch sensor or an IR seeker, things get a little more complicated. Currently, I know of no way to convert a touch sensor to a Rev Robotics hub. However, for I2C, there is a way. What you'll need is some sort of wire that sometimes comes with the Rev Robotics kit and can be found on their website, that simply switches the white and the black wire for the wire, and then you also need a level shifter. Then you'll be able to plug all of these into in sequence and then be able to get an output of the type JST PH wire. So this is what the Rev Robotics hub looks like when it's plugged into everything it can handle. So the battery is plugged into its battery in port. The motor and its motor encoder are plugged into its respective ports on the left side. The servo is plugged in to the bottom, and our sensors are both plugged in. The Rev Robotics sensor makes a blue light when you press it, by the way. And the IR sensor is plugged into the I2C port.